going to see us. They're going to see you
They
as
will.
apparently I'm choosing wine and can't. I guess I'll bring two and I'll pop one. I don't know.
It's all good.
We
I just
have
thought
the tools.
it was highly entertaining when I sent you, like basically when you were asking me to like define who is the character in this book, and we were like, well, basically she's a cog.
Right.
Yes. And so that has really helped me
Narrow
as
down
I
the character.
discovered like who
Hey
is
everyone.
she? Hello everyone. We're drinking tonight. We're having the booze.
We have a party. I before everybody tells us all their projects, we need to
Yes.
determine what Chantel's drinking. Am I drinking the Whispering Angel or the Celestial Zinfandel? I don't speak wine. I drink
I
wine, I
don't
guess.
really either.
This
All I
one's
know,
pink.
I don't like a dry red or a dry white. That's all I can tell you. Pink probably
I don't
has
know
more
what
sugar.
color this is once you open it. Anybody?
Aren't
Anyone?
Zinfandels normally white?
Aren't they pink too? I feel like anybody that
This is
knows
a
me that would
question
bring
for
me
Google.
wine would be like,
What
here,
color
have something pink.
are Zinfandels?
I'm pretty sure they're pink.
Zinfandel wine.
Who knows?
Red.
To the Google.
Majority of Zinfandel wines are red, dry,
Ew.
so maybe I would go with the pink.
Okay. Well, that made that easy.
Yes.
All right, we're going with this. Is it expensive? Google that.
Whispering Angel
Yes.
wine.
How do I open it? Oh, I have to have one of those
Oh,
special little
Chantel,
things.
you know how to do this.
Well, I don't have one of those special little thingies to like cut the. Maybe it is expensive. Who knows?
No, it's 15.99 at Jewel-Osco.
Hey, you know
But
what?
hey,
15.99 is like the perfect bottle.
I feel like so too. I mean, it's not the $5 wine that's going to make you really gross.
To be fair, my Tula machine is not right here. It's the straight stitch. Straight
It's all
stitch can
good.
drink.
These are funny. Hi, DK. Hi, Ada. We
Hi.
are we're hanging tonight. I have all my stuff pinned and ready to go, but I have yet to decide if I'm going to actually do anything tonight.
I feel
I'm
that.
maybe not in that mood at the moment, which I feel like is totally
I opened a bottle of
a
wine,
normal
y'all,
thing. There you go.
on the air. I didn't cut the foil first though, because they didn't have a
This is
foil
not
cutter.
this is not going well.
So this is what
I
this
always
looks like right now.
I always use a little pokey part at the top and kind of just like do a little
Yeah.
scoopy.
Yeah, this is when I need my buddy Andrew. Be like, did I did I do this right? I once cried at a winery because they made me try so many things and I was so overwhelmed because I just hated everything and the whole thing and um at a certain point I was drunk and still hating everything and they're like, "This
That's not a
how
good
does
place
this
to be
feel
at.
for you?" And I'm like, "I can't handle this."
This is not a good combination for sure. Good evening, Suzanne and Colleen.
I've come a long way since then.
What is everyone working on? Because Chantel and I have yet to decide if we're actually
We're
going to
working
sew
on our
tonight
drinks.
or we might just drink drinking live on the internet while you guys all sew.
Oh,
That
well,
this
I have some sewing
see, we're
stuff.
making
I'm technically in a
fabulous life
sewing room.
choices. Fabulous life choices. Ah,
I saw the coolest things that nobody needs at IKEA. And one of them was a cup holder that clips to your table so that
ooh,
your
that would be
cup
perfect.
wouldn't spill on the table. You would knock it like, not while it's on the table.
Did it come home with you?
No, no, because it's the coolest stuff you don't need, right? Like you
Did
don't think
they
you need it until.
did they still have a room set up like a sewing room? Because that's what they had set up the last time I was
Oh,
in
yes.
IKEA.
Hazel pretended to be a real estate agent this week while we went to IKEA and trying to sell me every single room in there.
Yes.
And a number of people were very intrigued by her sales ads for me and the pitches that she gave. And we
That's funny.
finally found a room that had a yellow sofa and a blue coffee table and like all this bold art, and it had a sewing machine on the table. And she's like, you're not gonna like this one. I'm like,
She's
this one is
already
like
got the
made for
sarcasm.
me. Yeah.
She's
Oh
already
yeah.
got the sarcasm. I love it.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. She knew that was going to be for me.
that is you. It is a heavy pull there, Chantel. Is half the bottle in the glass?
No, 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 no. It just looks that way. No.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, I could have been a little more demure, but
Pauline is saying hi from Scotland. She's fighting sleep at the
nice.
moment. That's maybe not good, but hello, welcome. AB's here.
When I'm looking to the side and I'm waving, I'm looking at all your comments and
Yes.
waving. So it's
My
like,
comments are over here
where's
too, so
where's the
that's what I do.
camera?
Yes. But
Mm. I
so
was
I
thinking
started
about, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying I started rereading Quicksilver this week.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Just
on books a lot, guys.
it is. And
we're on a
it,
kick.
there's this the character and she's like she's wound pretty tight. Like it doesn't take much to rile her up.
Hmm.
And Kingfisher, who's the main broody love interest, does a very good job at riling her up, and they pretty much hate each other for a good chunk of the book. And
Like all good books, there has to be a
all
hate
good books.
interest.
And so there's at one point where she just like walks down and she's like, if you have wine, I get wine. And she pours herself like a giant bottle or glass of
That's
wine.
me right
Your
now.
your glass right now reminds me of her glass of wine.
It's really not that. It's like that time you had a high noon that looked like a normal size until you got it
But
to
it
your
was
face. It
gigantic.
was
Yes.
actually humongous.
Yes.
I still
I
haven't seen those.
I literally saw that and I was like, I have to buy that for the
I hope I
live
get one of
to
those
show
in my Easter
Chantel.
basket.
Ooh,
I'm
you
not
would
getting
have
an
your
Easter
own
basket.
Easter basket?
I should.
I mean, I feel like that's the only way you would get one.
Hmm. Yeah.
We got a lot of people on today. We got Andy
Nice.
Quilter from North Dakota. We're all just hanging. We're having a hangout tonight.
This used to be like we would sew and we would push through projects. Then we found out we just need girls' time at the end of the week.
Sometimes.
So, just friends
Chantel and
time.
I literally called each other and we probably talked on the phone for like 2 hours last night or last Saturday night.
Yeah. We had another date.
After talking on live with all of you for 2 hours the night
Yes.
before.
Then we talked the next day. My
Uh,
husband had no idea what your plans were for like possibly writing a book. Like it was just completely over his head. And I had to explain to him that you're working on a real project. I wasn't just making that stuff up so that I could talk to you on the phone.
oh goodness. That's funny.
I mean,
No,
even if
Adam.
I was, at least believe me, you
So
know.
Adam, my husband, for anyone who's following along at home, he was like not following along at all with plot until I made them character names. And then I was
It was
telling him
hard.
it was. And but then I was telling him about how I was trying to like tie everything together and I was going back and changing like little details to make sure it all tied together. Because he's like, why are you plotting out like 3 books before you even write one? I'm like, because they have to like make sense. But
Like
I
all the
thought of
little
something
things
too.
have to be in all the parts.
You know how you're like getting bored with chapters in ACOTAR?
Oh, so bored.
So I think the reason why Rebecca Yarros, the author of the Fourth Wing and
Hmm.
Period series, is so good is because she has ADHD. She cannot get bored with
Oh,
her characters.
oh yeah,
And so
she's got to
every
move
single
on.
thing has got something going. Like we're
It's
not
true. I mean,
gonna go after it.
I'm getting I'm getting bored. And it's funny because it's not necessarily boring. It's just droning a bit.
Yeah.
It just kind of lulls in one place for a while. I'm like, I'm ready for a new place. I'm ready for a new character. I'm ready for some new excitement. I'm like really surprised when something exciting happens.
Yeah.
Mostly
I
because just not a lot of excitement happens. Things move forward in the story, but it's not a thrilling story
yeah,
per se. Although I did get through almost 2 hours of it today.
that's good.
Yeah.
I read what is it called? It's like Dragon Wing something. It's kids book series. Um
Hmm.
by 2AT Sutherland. And there's like 17 books in the series, and we've read all of them. And she ends every single. This is why when I had a fourth wing on my book. And Andrew's like, can I read it? And I'm like,
Oh, like a
absolutely
dragon
not.
is like not the
She's like,
same
but it's
dragon.
dragons. I'm like, no, no, this is not dragons for kids. And but it every single chapter ends with a cliffhanger and makes you want to go to the next one, and something important has happened in every single chapter. And
Yeah, because it's for
yeah,
kids. Adult books should be the same.
for sure.
Yeah, Pauline says I have ADHD and it's so easy to get fed up with. Yeah.
What's your request? I need to know what your request is.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm asking myself, like, is there a purpose to this conversation I'm having right now? How much can I pack into a chapter? Um,
And there is a certain point where you do need to draw things out to, the literary flair, but
like
I don't
we
know.
were talking about this too. Like the first book in the series I'm working on is takes place over a year because of something that has to happen that takes a while.
Hmm.
Like it just
A
biologically
plot
takes a
point has
while.
to boil a bit.
Yes. And so I have to spread it out. And then the second one is over like 6 months, and then the third one is going to be over a much shorter time span. So it's just
Hmm.
because you know,
There's, yeah.
we don't have to take as much time when depending on what's going on, but
Yeah, once you've built the scene and you've built all of that, you can really push forward with time.
yeah.
But until then, yeah, I feel like I'm still getting everything. Um, yeah, the Akatar. I like it,
It is a good gateway drug, I feel like.
but it is
Susan's working
not.
on a Noah's Ark quilting panel, by the way, back to our
Oh,
quilting friends,
cute.
which is adorable. But
Oh, battery's going dead. Bye. Me too. I have like all these cords going across my entire room right now
oh, I know.
because I
I'm so plugged
realized
in.
that I didn't charge anything all week. And my laptop's old enough now that it's like, oh, sweetheart, we don't hold a charge this week.
Yeah,
That's not what we do. Even if I'm
I
off, we don't
understand
hold
that.
a charge anymore.
Yeah, my other laptop is that way for sure.
It has its moments. So, sewing wise, I did
Have
the
you
other
done
day
anything?
while we were on the phone, I got
Ooh, you were
all it
productive?
I had
Because
all
I
these little
absolutely was
sandwiches
not.
made so that I can embroider up my little animals. But I think
Did
I'm
you
going to
like
just embroider this and then I'm going to sandwich them this way. And then I'm going to do like the pillow thing where they all,
go around? That makes sense.
yep.
Did
Wow.
you do
Did
like
that, did that make sense?
yeah, is it like a glue based or what do you have going on there?
I don't have any base because it's
It's
just
just a
so, they're
sticking.
so little and they're
Yeah.
so fluffy sticky that I'll probably go in with the tack gun, but it's
Do you
the
like
thing
that?
that never ends.
Or does it
What?
leave holes? Do you like that or does it leave holes?
It leaves, I mean, they are little. Like,
I don't think I'll be able to see.
yeah, you can't. That's how little these little
I see the
tacks are.
tack. I see the tack,
Yeah.
but
And the
that's it.
hole is tiny too. So it's not, I mean, everything leaves a hole. If you pin it, if you do, you just kind of scratch it with your finger and poof, be gone.
Pauline is doing a Bargello and wants to add some applique for interest, but it's not liking any of the ones she bought.
Our projects
I
never
have never
appreciate us.
added applique to a Bargello because I feel like Bargello has a lot happening already.
I've never done a Bargello.
They're fun.
I feel like that I would probably enjoy that. It would be lickety
The un
split.
the unsewing part of it, not so fun because you have to pick seams because
Oh,
it's just like a giant tube.
can't
So
you
every
just
time
like
you're trying
cut
to put
that
it
part
on,
off?
I mean, if you want it to be the right size, no,
Oh, well, I mean, technicality.
you know,
Right. It's like Adam, like, why do you have to, outline 3 books when you really just need to write one? Well, if you're going to do it right.
I feel like though, I don't know, maybe I need to take more time with this one because I totally blew Chantel knows this. So I had like a
Mhm.
whole, like for years, I knew how this was all going to go. And then I
Like,
decided
literally for like not 2 or 3 years,
like
like
decades.
20 years.
Decades. And but then as I was writing a character who was supposed to be really evil, I decided I really kind of liked him and wanted him to have a little bit of a redemption arc, which meant blowing up the entire second half and third book plot. totally blowing it up. So the main bad guy now is somebody who should have been dead a long time ago. And but it works.
You
It
really
totally
went
works.
for a change,
I
but
did. But so now I'm like, but like when I was thinking what I was gonna do with the second book, I literally was like laying awake when I had insomnia for hours every single night thinking through it for like 2 months before I wrote a
mhm.
single thing. And now
That's
I
like
feel
half
like
of my EPP. It's
I
just
know, right?
insomnia EPP. You have insomnia book writing.
I do. I do. And like I would be literally like lay there, my eyes shut, but like my brain is thinking, so like my eyes are like open inside my
Oh,
head. It's a
yeah,
weird
no,
thing.
you're going, you're
Yeah. And so I would wake up and my eyes would literally hurt because like my brain and the eye movements were going, even though I
like
was
you were
like
working it.
in a rest state. But I don't know, I'm just kind of plowing
She's
through.
living this right now. And
I
it's
roughly
important to
know
do
where I
it.
want to
You don't
go.
have to sew for work. You
I
can sew
don't.
for pleasure. And you don't
It's
have to
fun.
write for work. You can write for pleasure. And now you can mix these a little bit more and just kind of,
It's fun. But I'm
you're
having a good
having
time with it.
fun. You're feeling good.
Let's see. Pauline says she likes kooky, whimsical patches, but's not sure where to
Ooh,
start. She's self-critical and ends up sticking it in a drawer for years. You know, I think we all feel that
I
way.
got a drawer.
Like
It's starting to overflow.
I had to decorate a cake for work this week, and
What? I didn't
I'm a
know this.
I'm a fairly decent cake decorator,
She really
but
is.
my boss had made the cake and made the frosting. They were doing this like cake walk thing at a place that we work with, and we were donating cake, and so it was a different kind of frosting that I'm used to, and it was very like lightweight. It wasn't stiff like
Oh,
buttercream. And then she wanted to put like big ass strawberries on top of it. And so I'm like trying to like do the things I know how to do and get it to work. And it
but
looked
it's not your
decent.
medium.
It looked decent, but it was not my
It was
best
not
work.
your work.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't really know that I love this. I feel like I did a bad job. And she's like, it looks great. And I'm just like, no, no, it doesn't.
Uh, it doesn't, but you're
Uh,
sweet. Thank
I
you
know,
for,
but I totally understand where you're at, Pauline, because it's very easy to like when you're really close, really looking at it, be like, this sucks. Like
I hate this.
you need to take a step back from it and look
You
at it
need to
later.
open the bottle of wine.
Yeah. And then
And
you're like, oh, this is cool. It turns out all right. But
my best projects are always made when I have a deadline for something else,
yeah,
not sewing related. And then all of a sudden, I
you
end
had
up
to
with,
do the procrastination.
yeah. And then
Yep.
I end up with these, like some of my best projects are all these ones that were like, oh, I'm just going to whip something out real quick because I have a wild hair up my butt. I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And then I'll go into a complete drought, like right now, where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I
But
don't know
how,
what to make.
I mean, we're totally gonna, we talk about mental health on here sometimes. So how are you
Hmm.
doing though? Because I know that creating is very tied to you feeling
Oh
the
yeah,
good
no,
fuzzies, the
creating
dopamine.
and me are like, I have to have the wild hair moment where you're like, I must make. I have an idea. I need to make something. I need to finish something. Not having my long arm, we've talked about that, has been
Yeah,
surprisingly
challenging.
hard on me because that is the one thing I can come down and like do and feel really accomplished with. A lot of
Hmm.
quilts take a long time, you know, and it's cutting and it's measuring and it's instructions. And so, I mean, I've been doing okay, but I've been busy this week.
Yeah,
Not with this, but it's when I have
in
time
general.
for my mind to float about, you know, not that I'm not busy, but yeah, when my mind can float about and I don't actually get to create anything, those weeks get a little tough.
I'm sure.
You know it.
I do, because I get phone calls from you.
Like I can't do anything. And I also get like the ADHD paralysis where
Yeah,
I finally have a moment for myself and I literally like freeze like a deer in the headlights and I can't do anything.
I
Can't
get
do
that, and
anything
I don't
positive.
have ADHD, so
I
I
can't
get
do
it.
anything negative. I just can't do anything. And yeah, it still doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, if I snuck downstairs and did something, it would still be better than laying here on the sofa not doing a thing, but I can't wedge myself off that sofa.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the amount of memes that I've sent you lately has gone down drastically.
It's been
Drastically.
very good for my mental health.
I'll keep that in mind. But it's
It was hard
because
to keep up with before.
it's because my
She's
brain
busy.
is just not in that space. Like it is thoroughly like
You are
satisfied.
woven into this
It is
project.
satisfied with like everything else that I'm doing in my life. I don't need to do the doom scrolling. There's other things I would rather do.
It is the doom
Yeah.
scrolling. That's what it really comes down to. I haven't been on Instagram or anything because I've been busy, and that is a good thing. However, I want to be busy with sewing stuff. I actually, guys, what are some really cool small projects that you like to
Sh
complete? Things that you can sit
Chantel
down and do in a single setting.
Chantel needs something to give her instant dopamine where she can get it done in like 2 hours.
Yeah,
That's
two
what she
hour
needs.
projects. That's what we need because 2 hour projects, I have the stash, I have the supplies, I have
You can make anything
anything.
happen.
I can make pretty much anything happen unless it needs to be heavily quilted. Then unfortunately the but I mean I get a lot of sewing in. I just it doesn't look like much because I'm doing it all by hand.
Yeah. And so it takes a little
Which is
bit to get
also
where you're
very
at.
disappointing though, right? Like the fact I haven't settled in my mind, I haven't settled in my heart and understood and accepted fully that the art that I love is not an instant gratification project. And I think that's a lesson I have to learn
Hmm.
and I have to learn to appreciate. And I probably love it so much because it's something that I need to learn. So many of the projects I end up doing are multi-year projects when you really get down to it.
Especially with your EPP.
Yeah.
Like
And
how
that's
many
like,
years? I've been on like year 7 of my Tula Nova,
I don't even
and
know
I'm
where
fine with
I
that.
am. It gets sat down for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I have enough of my grandmother's flower garden, just little flowers to probably start putting them together if I wanted. I have my hexie, my coffin hexies.
Hmm.
I got at least 15 of those sewn together. I could probably start stringing those together, but that's not, you know, it's still, it feels overwhelming when you feel like accomplished and you lay them all out, and then you're like, this will literally cover my butt, and that's it. Like, I need like only about 80 more of these, and it'll be good. Like, 80 more of them is going to take me another 2 years.
Yeah, probably.
So I
Especially
feel
with
like it's a
children and
lesson
all the
in
things.
patience. Yeah. It's all a lesson in patience that I have to learn. And, the universe is making me learn. Because why do I like something so much that annoys me so much? It's like my husband. It's just like my.
Oh, goodness. My husband was trying to talk me out of this today because I'm leaving tomorrow with the children and he's not coming
Oh,
with.
Easter, yeah.
Yeah. So normally, like Chantel and I have date night Friday night, and my husband and I have date night Saturday night.
Yeah.
And
Except
so
I
he
took
was,
up part of Saturday night and he was funny at a certain
he
point.
was
He's
so
like,
funny.
you're done. You're done. You
He
get a
kept
whole
coming
nother
in.
night.
I was sitting in the bedroom, like talking to Chantel, like the
We were
whole time,
brainstorming this. I
drinking,
mean,
drinking high noons.
we had a
Huge
huge
discussion.
net
Yes.
out there of all these ideas and we're
It was
pulling
so fun.
things together and it was so awesome.
And I was very drunk. I texted her the
We
next morning.
sh-
I'm like, I'm very hungover.
I
Like,
think I
I'm
drank like
very,
5 high noons. It was
it was a lot. It was a
not the
lot.
finest moment, but we really flushed out some ideas.
We had a lot of fun. And
And
my
it was
husband
like
just kept
living in a
poking
book
his head
without
in.
doing it.
He just kept
Hmm.
poking his head in. You done yet? You done yet? And then eventually he was like, get off the phone. You're mine now.
Get out of here. You-
And
and you can
then
hear him on the other line. He's like, you're done. Chantel, you're done. Get
it
out.
sounded to me, it felt like if like 20 years previous, basically. It felt like you and I were like in the
Like
club
in a dorm,
or some danky basement and someone's like, we're done now. We're going back to the room.
Yeah. It's like,
It's
get
my
out of
time
here.
now.
It's my time.
That's what it
Like,
felt like. It was
Go
hilarious.
find your own place to sleep.
It was so
So
funny.
he was so done. It was probably for the best. And then I got
It was
upstairs
probably
and there was no spot in the bed because my daughter had crawled into the bed and everybody was passed out. So I slept in my daughter's bed
with the dog,
with the dog, with the poodle,
the 70-pound
a
poodle.
the 70-pound poodle, the
Yes.
standard poodle,
Yes.
more than standard. That dog's special.
Yes, he is.
He is
Oh,
really special. But he's my favorite. He loves me. I'm surprised he's not down here right now, but he'll come.
we got
One
lots of
inch
people working
hexies
on
for a
stuff.
queen size quilt. Oh,
Yeah, that's going to be a minute. Carrie's working through scraps and basic things.
oh, I have
A
so
lot of
many
people feel like
scraps.
us, where you're like, I want to sew, but like, what are really like? I pinned all of these last week. I could just be whipping through these. Do I feel like
You
it? Not at
no,
this particular moment in time. I do not.
no, that's okay. This has become an important part of our
Yes.
week and our ability to like feel like we have time. It's our
Yeah.
book club, it's our sewing club, it's our talk about random things club, it's our mom's night out,
I
even though we're in.
literally have written 200 pages of outline and dialogue in the past like 2 weeks. So I think just my creative bucket is full at the moment. I feel like
And
I
I think
don't.
the only thing I have
Yeah.
full is my storage unit. So everything else is a little dim. I
Yeah.
found this game online. This is so I found this game where you have to take all these little these beads or candy or whatever and you have to move them into different buckets to get them all into the same color, like into the same color. And ADHD me is like, this is the best game ever. I love this game. In the last 3 weeks, I'm up to level like 250. So it's not that I
So
haven't been
you're
doing
not doom
anything,
scrolling. You are it's getting the dopamine
playing
hits
this
elsewhere.
candy
Yes.
sort game.
Yeah, yeah, that's where your dopamine is coming from right now.
It really is. It's a
Yes.
brain sort, and you have to kind of think through it. It's a puzzle. So I'm enjoying that. But yeah, if I'm being honest with everybody, I'm not moping on my sofa and I'm also not mopping the floor. I'm playing the candy sorting game.
We were talking about cleaning earlier this week, and
I mopped my floor, guys,
I have a funny story.
on one
So
floor.
my um daughter, who is almost 11, got asked out on a date
This is a great story.
in front of me. And I was trying really, really hard not to just die laughing because it was so hilarious.
He
And
worked it. It's so
so
good. This story, it's just as good
where
as her book.
where it comes in with cleaning though is the mom went to come pick up, and it was yesterday and the kids head off of
Hmm.
school for Easter break. And I was like, we have to clean the area that you can see when you open the door. I
Yeah,
don't care about anything else, just whatever you can see from when you open the door. So we're
just
like
move
going through all
everything
this.
out of the way.
And Chantel and I were talking about our floors. I was like, yeah, I didn't even bother with that. There's dog hair everywhere. It is what it is. But so we're at Lego League because I coach Lego League. And it's like our second to last meeting of the year. And they're working on this Pikachu that they've been working on for months. And my daughter had this crush on this boy months
Hmm.
ago, months ago. And of all he's very smart. He's very, very good at putting together Lego. Hardest one to manage from like a keep on task standpoint in the class.
Little hyperactive. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. And so, but he's really smart, really nice kid. And so she had this crush on him, and I was like, you can't have a crush on him. There's like 4 kids in Lego League. It's gonna be weird. And so she's like, yeah, you're right. So this is like last fall. And but she tells her friends, and her friends can't keep their mouth shut. So before we know it, this boy
They
knows
all
about it.
know.
And and then and then they have a little discussion about it. And she's like, yeah, but we're not because it's Lego League. We can't. And so like that was that. And that was like months ago. So we haven't brought it up again since. I thought we were all done with this situation. And then they're
We
talking
thought
about,
it had passed.
we're talking about the Minecraft movie, the kids were, and he had seen it and she hadn't. She's like, Mom, can you take us on Friday? And I was like, I have to work. I'm not taking you to the movie. And he goes, I can take you to the movie. And I'm just like, the mom radar
Something
slash
flirts.
writing romantasy book right now is like, uh-oh, what just
Uh-oh.
happened? And then she's he's like, yeah, my mom and I could take you. And then she's like saying something, and but then he replies back, and I know your secret. And I know immediately he's talking about the fact that she had a crush on him earlier in the year. And I'm like,
That's so
oh
good.
shit. He's asking her out on a date.
Oh my
And
God, I can't believe you're
he's in
there.
fourth grade and she's in fifth grade. Like they are young. And I'm just sitting
You have
here.
one child blaming her bathroom
Yeah.
incident on the dog, and you have the other child getting asked out on a date.
And I'm
Now,
sitting there like trying like very hard not to smile like a freaking idiot because it's so funny and so cute.
I
And
think I
then
just got
also
snot out my nose thinking about
try
it.
really hard not to laugh at them because he's being so cute about it. And I just don't. And the other two kids, or the other three boys in the class, no idea what's going on. They're not picking up on this whatsoever. They're just doing their own thing. And I'm just like, as I'm trying not to draw attention because I don't want them to get made fun of. And and I was like, if you want to go to the movie, Wyatt, and it's your mom says it's okay to take her, that's fine with me. Because I'm just like trying to be the cool, casual thing about it. And then I'm like, she's gonna be 11 in less than a month. And I'm sitting here thinking, this is really young. And then I'm realizing I had my first kiss when I was 11 and Truth or Dare on the back of a bus at swim team. So maybe this isn't so young, and maybe I am in for a hell of a ride here because I was not necessarily a good child when it came to
You
these
were a
things.
great child.
Oh my goodness.
You were the best kind of
I
child. You
literally,
cared that your parents cared.
I remember after I'd had the kiss, I talking to my parents, very long conversation. When will I know if it's okay to kiss a boy when it's ready? And I was
They're like,
really
you won't.
just like
Ah.
waiting for them to say, "Oh, it's okay that you've done this," and like not like whatever. Anyway, but anyway, so but I'm just like, oh yeah, I did have a boyfriend in fifth grade. Not that we did anything.
A
Like
boyfriend. I mean, it's all
we saw
relative,
each
right?
other
Like, I
at
had
swim
a
team.
boy that I would hold
Yeah,
hands with regularly
yeah,
in like seventh grade. So,
yeah.
what would I have been? You know, 12, 13.
Oh yeah, I had a boyfriend in seventh grade and another one in eighth grade, who I remember I broke up with
But it
because we
was
both had
boyfriend. It
no.
wasn't like
We
there
broke
was
up.
no understanding of what goes on beyond that first kiss. It was the first
No,
kiss, and we're in love forever. At that
I
age, I thought.
broke up with my eighth grade boyfriend because we both had got braces at the same time, and I thought they were going to get stuck together like the movies, and I didn't want to have that happen
Hey,
and have to
that
explain it to my
seems
parents.
that seems like a really legitimate reason.
It was a very legitimate reason in my mind at the time, and that was the
I
only
never had
boyfriend.
braces. I never had to
My
dump my boyfriend for that.
my dad liked that boyfriend, and then not anymore after that until I met Adam. So he
And he agreed to like Adam.
yeah he did he saw how I was with Adam, that I was happy with Adam. I think that
That's
was
funny.
the kicker. But anyway, so mom, it's like, yeah, we can take her to the movies. And I was like, you are aware that they think this is a date, right? And she's like, yeah, I figured that out.
Oh my God.
And so it was so adorable. He comes up to the door by himself to ring the doorbell to get her. And then mom comes up a little bit afterwards. And so he was chaperoned by his mother and his two younger brothers who played romance sounds on mom's cell phone the entire time during the movie. They're sitting in the row behind him, and then those two were sitting like right in front of them in the row in front and just
Not awkward at all. They're going to be
giving
like,
him
I went on your
hell,
first date.
giving him hell the whole time. And it just was so funny to hear the whole thing. And she's like, we decided it's okay to tell. And then she named off the other three boys in Lego League that we went on, to the movies together. And I'm just sitting here like I'm just dying.
I'm awkward for them. Like, do you
It's
ever
so
feel
funny.
secondhand embarrassment? That is
I
a
wasn't
real thing.
embarrassed. I thought it was just so funny and cute
No,
and
but just the
sweet.
fact that they're like, we're gonna tell Lego League. that made my little heart just like plop into my butt. Like I'm embarrassed for her. Like this is,
It's
oh my
so funny.
gosh, it's so cute.
It was so cute. So cute. And then I found out that his great aunt lives across the street from me. And
Oh,
apparently they almost bought the house. And I was like, well, thank God you didn't, or we'd be in big trouble. She
we
starts
be in
laughing
huge
her head off.
trouble.
Oh, goodness. I'd have to actually
That's
keep my house
hilarious.
clean if she had a friend
Yeah,
across the
more than
street.
the foyer.
I know.
Oh well. I mean, my foyer is never clean. I just hope that something excites them when they walk into the house that isn't a dog toy that has been annihilated on the middle of the floor or
I basically was like, let's turn on the candle warmer. Let's get the crap out of the area you can see from when you walk in the door. Let's make sure it doesn't look like all the dishes from last
so
night are still
relatable
out
though.
there. And we're good. Like, that's all we need.
No, the book that keeps on getting brought up here about like decluttering at the speed of life
Yeah.
and all of it, you know, the one woman that I really like reading her books about cleaning and how to like keep your home. She was like a slob basically that kind of figured it out. She's like start with visibility. You always start cleaning in the most invisible place because you're going to feel the most dopamine kick if you start somewhere where it's always visible. So if somebody's going to come over, you don't start in your closet, you start in the foyer because that's the first thing they're going to see. You know, are they going to go to
True.
the bathroom? You're going to clean the bathroom. You're going to at least make it look like it is a sanitary place to go,
I
if
didn't get
not
that far.
actually a sanitary place
You
to
can't
go.
see the bathroom from where I was at. I was like, well, I'll do that over the weekend.
Fair. I mean, you know, if you had me over, you might consider like wiping the counter or something,
If
maybe.
I had someone actually walking into the house, yes, the kitchen
Exactly.
and the bathroom would get
But
a
the point
some
was,
attention.
you start with visibility and you start in the same place every single time you clean your house because that's going to make the biggest difference over time. Now, I can't completely agree with that because visibility for who walks in my house and visibility for my husband are very different things. My husband sees dishes.
Yeah.
Damn him. His
I thought
dishes.
dishes were his job, though.
They're not really his job. I just avoid them enough that he usually does them.
Ah,
So, not his chore per se, but
I feel
kind of.
like in any marriage, there are tasks where like you get to a point where it's like, I can't take it anymore. And sometimes it's just a matter of whose I can't take it anymore has a higher threshold.
Oh, yeah.
And my I can't take it anymore for the bathroom is way lower than my husband's. So when he randomly cleans the bathroom, that's when I know I really let it go too long.
I really let it go. No, I don't even think my husband knows how to clean a bathroom. Is that bad?
I don't know. Mine's only done it a couple of times. And I know he doesn't use the right products, but that's okay. He's done it. Have you
I
ever
don't
seen the
know.
memes
John has
where like
scrubbed a toilet.
where guys are like guys will complain that they don't know how to clean a bathroom, but then they'll clean their car with 15 different products. And it's like same damn thing. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, your car is actually probably easier. You should try the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not harder actually. Your car is probably harder. I mean, your car is harder than the
So
bathroom.
when we go on our cruise that I'm
Hmm.
teaching quilting on in July to Alaska, my mother-in-law's staying at the house with the dogs, which is going to save us like $500. But it also means I have to have it stupid clean before I leave, and it still won't be good enough.
No.
And
Is anything ever, yeah,
no, it won't
no.
ever. I could have it professionally like cleaned, and we have just moved in, and there's not a speck of dirt, and she would still locate something to do. Because that's how she shows love. Not because she's being nitpicky, but that's how she shows love.
I need her to go show some love to my house.
Yeah,
Can I get that hired? I live closer than you do too.
you do. She could definitely come over
I
to your
don't
house
want the
for a day.
judgment though. I don't want to be here when she, you know.
I,
Maybe I just need a housekeeper.
the last time she was out here, I specifically went to go work at a coffee shop because I didn't want to be here trying to work when she showed up and immediately started busying herself with things because I didn't want to just be sitting down while she was doing things. And of course, I walk in the door and she's, doing this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, just sit down. No, no. Like,
No,
okay.
no,
We
always
got
couldn't.
Lori has joined us. Hi, Lori. Let's see. Jan 2020 says it's not really cleaning, it's removing trash. I mean, yeah, that's a big deal. Just getting things that you don't need
Yeah, the
out.
decluttering is very different than the actual cleaning part of it. The cleaning part's really not so bad
Yeah.
once you get all the crap out of the way.
I
I'm not so
do.
good at getting the crap out of the way.
So I don't cry often. It takes usually somebody or a dog has to die if I'm going to break down and cry. It's not a normal thing for me.
Hmm.
Um, But the very first time my mother-in-law came to our house after we had bought it, we had all these built-in cabinets and I was trying to dust. And I was very concerned that everything would be perfect when she arrived. And my husband was like, just, doing a once over kind of a thing, not lifting up and actually cleaning underneath and the spray and all
Hmm.
that. And I just broke down, sobbing, crying.
Oh my God, it was so intense for you.
And he goes, show me how to do it right. And I was like, that's the line. That's the right line to
That
say.
was, you got to figure out how to put something
Yes,
like that in the book. That
I know,
is
right?
a beautiful line.
It is. But they're not really dusting anything. They're nobles. They
No,
don't do anything like that shit.
no.
Ah,
But he does come to their court and
he
has no
does.
idea how that works
This is true. There is, so when she gets upset in the book,
in the book.
her
Hmm.
two favorite activities are throwing daggers at a target to calm herself down or sparring and beating the crap out of somebody. And so he regularly will ask her, do you need to throw sharp objects or do you need to fight? And that's a regular occurrence for them. So
I need a hobby
that's
like
the
that.
equivalent of the dusting. There's a pair, I don't know if it's still there, but apparently there was a rage room in the Quad Cities at some point where you can throw battle axes at stuff. And I need to go do this for research. I just
Why
need to do it.
haven't we done this?
I know, right? Like, why? I need to see if this is still a
To be
thing.
fair, my backyard is private enough. We could get ourselves a printer like straight out of Office Space and just,
Throw things.
hmm.
Yeah.
John has
I'm
lots of weaponry.
I'm gonna take a boxing class, Chantel. My boss's brother teaches it. I'm gonna learn how to throw a
I
punch.
think you're gonna love it.
I probably will. So, Donna, you missed it. I'm writing a book series. It's been in my brain
And
for
it
like
has
two
nothing to
decades.
do with quilting unless it's the
No,
inappropriate use of quilts.
yeah, there's not
Even then,
not
it's
any of
not
that.
even quite right. Yeah.
My degree is actually in English with creative writing emphasis, and so I've been outlining books, and I'm on the third one at the moment. I'm about through the first
Yeah,
draft of
she's
the
far.
first one, but
Well, hey, I drank my wine.
I am
So what do
about
I
ready for
get?
another one as well.
Another wine.
Yay!
Makes
Chantel,
no
she texts me and she goes, "How long is wine good for?" And I'm like, "I think forever. Is that supposed to get better with
I meant
age?"
more like once it's been open. I really don't want to have to finish an entire bottle in a sitting.
I
I
mean, I
did get something
still
sewing out, by the way,
like
to
that is
share with
a
everybody.
challenge though. What is your item?
I found this pattern for a bucket hat,
Ooh,
and it is really excited to go up on her. But I'm really excited to make this. I feel like it's going to be really fun for the pool.
I feel like that's what your weekend project needs to be, Chantel.
Yeah, but I need to read the pattern and all that goodness and then cut it out and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah, Donna, this is, I mean, I've got the fourth quilting book is coming out. That's all written. It's apparently going to be assigned to an editor in the next week, so that's an exciting quilty thing.
Mm.
But but yeah, I started writing a romantasy thing.
Axe throwing.
Twyla
Nice,
says her brother
Twyla.
needs to axe throwing last weekend. Yeah, this is what I want. I want to know how to do this.
I know we have that in Peoria. Basement night needs to be a 2-night series.
Yes.
Basement,
Maybe
recovery, axe throwing.
maybe I can leave my children here some Saturday after my husband gets off work and we can go throw axes at things, and then we can spend the day in your basement drinking, organizing, and coming up with names for things in my book
I I
and
don't
looking
think
at
there's a
medieval
thing that sounds
architecture.
more, yeah, because I have all my architecture books back there. So I had to take
Oh,
history classes and all this in architecture, and the medieval architecture is by far the most interesting. I mean, maybe Greek and Roman is clearly very, very
yes.
important, but you get to medieval and they get creative with their requirements. Like the
Yeah.
arches are like that for a reason because of the sturdiness and things like that. But they get very, you know, they flourish things a little bit more. But at the
Yes.
same time, most things are made for the quality of war. So your battlements and things like that are so that people can shoot arrows
Yeah.
out through the top of buildings without getting hit. And love love it.
Which is all going to be very important
Very important,
for
actually.
my plot line.
Not for the quilting book.
Not for
Although
that one.
after that, we can write a quilting book about quatrefoils and arches,
We
and
could.
you'll have a whole bunch of ideas in your head
I
for
have
quilting
all the
after that.
pictures from our European adventure that we supposedly were supposed to make quilt things out of, but haven't yet.
Oh yeah, all the tile.
Yes.
I think the
Portugal
easiest
was
way to
awesome for that.
repurpose that is to make that into a quilt pattern, like the actual quilting, this quilting,
Yeah.
and not necessarily the overall pieces together. That's the hard part for me. I think I just really want to play on my long arm and like play and quilt
You're close.
pieces of things together.
A month from now, you'll be back on it.
I know. Is that true? It
You
is
said it was
true.
right after Mother's Day. So
Mm-hmm.
yes,
The day after. Unfair. I pick it up the
it
day
is
after
unfair.
Mother's Day.
That's okay.
That's okay. And then I got to get it back on this machine, on this thing. I don't even know how to take it off.
You'd have to take your bars off and then it'll come off.
Wait, really? That sounds
Probably.
annoying.
It is slightly. It's not as bad as it
Sorry, I have a
sounds though.
cough. I have a little cold. Such happens when you decide to leave the house.
You
So
know,
annoying.
leaving the house is a good thing on occasion.
Ah, I've been doing it more. I like it
Overrated.
sometimes.
So
I don't
how
like
are
leaving the
you
house.
like lately when I go to Costco? I feel like it's so mentally draining, especially if I have the children with me. So how
I
were
had
you
a
at IKEA? Was that a
Oh,
mentally draining
IKEA
experience?
wasn't bad. They have very good aisle space. But the other day, I was at Target with my friend Vanessa, and we got to the Easter aisle, and I started to have like panic reactions to everything. And it was like, why am I so worked up about this? Like, what is my problem? And we got out of that area and kind of went somewhere else, and it wasn't so bad. It turns out it was very hot in there. And our barista, because you walk in and there's Starbucks, had corrected me about what I had asked for my drink. And what I had asked for was a pike, which is basically their brewed coffee, breve, which is half and half, steamed half and half for, I don't know, probably three-fourths, not three-fourths, like a fourth or a third of the top of it. So you have coffee and you have heavy cream that's been essentially whipped. Well, she corrected me that breve shouldn't actually be whipped and that it comes with espresso. And I said, well, I want breve, but I want it to be, the steamed or whatever. I'm pretty sure she gave us a triple shot of espresso with
So Chantal was a
with
little
some
wild.
cream.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was so overwhelmed. We were both like, oh, like in Target, like all wound for
That's the
sound.
worst feeling. Like I remember in college,
It
we just
tasted
drink
great.
as much
It was,
coffee as possible. And now if I have two cups, I'm like, I have the shakes. It's bad.
oh my God. We were so, and we were like, and then we were crashing. We're like, we have to get out of here. And we got outside and we're like, it is a good like 10 degrees cooler out here and it is comfortable outside. It is not comfortable inside. So I was totally sensory overload at
Yeah.
Target the other day, but it didn't help that I'm pretty sure I had a triple shot of espresso.
I don't
And
know. My like Friday night involves taking the kids to gymnastics and then going to Costco to pick up dog food and whatever else we
and
need
then
to pick
having
up from
therapy with
Costco.
us.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I just like I picked the short line. I had everything ready to go, and they must have had some promotion where they're trying to get the cashiers to get them to do this
Oh,
upgrade thing on a membership because she's
so
talking
annoying.
for way too long to these people about the benefits of it. And I'm sitting there and my children are about ready to beat each other to a pulp. And I'm
Yeah.
just like trying to contain that situation. And meanwhile, all the aisles around me that I chose not to go into because they look longer than the aisle I was in
Yep.
are done and they are empty, but it's too late because all my crap is on the conveyor belt. And I'm just like, oh my God. And so finally, it comes to me and she goes, hey, can I talk to you about it? And I'm like, nope, you cannot. I'm
Nope.
sorry. My children are losing their mind. I just need to check out and go. It's, you know, and it was just like, I'm like, you're a mom. Clearly, you're old enough to have had children. You've been in my position. Now's not the time to ask me
And
about
if you're not,
whatever
you're an
additional
aunt,
thing.
you're an auntie, you're something to
Uh,
somebody. You understand children are melting down right now.
yes, they're
It's
not
not
doing
the
well.
time.
I need to get them out of here. They're hangry and they're about to kill each other, and I just need to pay for my things and go. Thank you. Uh, the Costco samples were not enough to satisfy the hunger. I need to get them home and get them fed.
They never are. The Sam's ones are better.
Are they?
They're heartier.
Do you double dip on the membership, Chantal?
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
not allowed to go to either of them. If you ask John, I mean, I'm technically allowed to go, but we all know I'm not allowed to go. I don't keep my cards.
Yeah,
Like, it is far too tempting for me. I know better. And I know I'll get overwhelmed. And it smells like tires when you enter, no matter
yeah.
where you go.
My
Ugh.
tires are from Costco, actually.
So are mine.
Yeah,
I mean, your tires should be from Costco, but for all means, like that smell is a very, it is the smell of one thing. Gotta plug in.
I do. We got the red. We're flashing red and it's
Oh,
beeping at me.
I'm at one point going to have to
Yeah,
take mine off too because I was listening to audiobooks in one ear on the way home.
yeah.
And so one of them's
I
almost dead.
was listening to Quicksilver, which has a really fun story. Like
How quick
if
is
anybody,
Quicksilver?
it's like I think it's like a 20-hour book, but it's the
I mean,
first in
you
a
know what I
series.
mean. Like, does it actually move
Does
quickly?
it move? So the setup takes a minute
I'm
because
okay
you
with
kind of
setup taking a minute.
like because you have to know her world and you have to know her, and we're introduced to a pretty major character pretty early on. And I remember thinking, why are we paying attention to this person? Because I knew like from the book description that like she was not going to be in setting number one for a really long time. Like it was pretty obvious. I was like,
Yeah,
why are we
what is this
making
person and
yeah.
why?
And so so and then as soon as she gets to Fairy Realm,
Hmm.
it moves pretty well. And the
I like a
dynamic,
rapid but
yeah,
cohesive
yeah,
pace where you feel like you're taking in the right amount of detail for your
yeah,
imagination, but you're still moving in a forward pace.
yeah. And the dynamic between the main female character, who I was talking about earlier, she gets riled really easily.
Hmm.
Like,
Very
but
type
she's,
A, probably that.
yeah, but she can really hold her own. Like she's survived in a brutal world already. And so like she doesn't take any shit. Like she just is very confident in herself. And then you have the main male character who is an ancient Fey warrior who has his own demons.
I like
And
that he's old. I
yeah.
mean, not old, but you.
I mean, he doesn't look old. He
So
looks like
in
he could be
Fourth
about her
Wing, my
age.
understanding is that the main male character is like 23. You
Yeah.
have to imagine, like, the average age of people reading these books is probably 50.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. I still want Zayden, even though
We
he
are
could be my son.
all super young
He could be my
at
son if
heart.
I would have, gotten it on really early in life. But I still love me some Zayden Ryerson. But he's he has a very like foul mouth, which might not be for everybody, but I truly appreciate it. And their dynamic between the two of them, because you have a take no shit female main character and a foul mouth main male character. And that leads to a lot of really great verbal
Little
sparring.
bit of firework there.
Yes, and you can tell, everybody can tell that like
It's
they
gonna
hate each other,
happen.
but do they really hate each other? Like, do they really like?
It's
And
all about how the author can string on the hate
yeah,
before it's love and not
yeah,
make it desperate, but also
yeah.
not make it cheesy. That's
And
hard to do.
you get enough like little tidbits where you like get led along, where it
Hmm.
doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm waiting
Hmm.
55 chapters for them to finally decide that they like each other,
Oh my gosh.
That's not
55 chapters is far. Yep. We've done
that's
that.
not how it is.
I have to call Stephanie, guys. I have to call her and ask her at what point in this book am I honestly going to get to a part where there's some type of, we'll call it resolution? Because this is just droning on about the story, the story, the story. Now, you have to understand that my background in
Regency
reading,
romance. She's all Regency romance.
oh, your Harlequin romance, your Avon romances. You remember your Avon romances, guys?
I remember my
The
grandmother having Avon romances.
Yes, yes, your Regency romances, the stuff that made Bridgerton famous. I had already read that and let that go because that's unfortunately my embarrassingly so. But I don't know how to handle a book that's more than like 350 pages trying to get to the end because they move
The
swiftly.
pacing, yeah.
And then pace is swift. Now, what they lack, like what you lack in a romantasy, or not really lack, I in a
There's a lot more
romantasy,
world building in a
yes,
romantasy.
and that is exactly, yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to say.
It's far more
You
than
don't
just the
already
romance.
know that it's about the ton. You don't already know that you're in London. You don't already know what everything looks like. You don't already know that they're wearing an umpire style dress. Like when you start reading these books, you have to build all of this world from scratch.
Hmm.
But in doing that, a lot of these books lost my interest because they're still building, but it's not, I don't want to say it's not rapid enough, but they're not taking the time that they're spending to really put in there all the detail that they could.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine it in the same way. If somebody says they were at a ball with a ton, I can immediately
Know what that means.
imagine what that is. And I don't have to imagine anything different because it was what it was. But in these romantasy books, it's like they're like, and there was this character and he was a, fae. And it's like, well, what exactly does that mean? What does that look like? Where is he? A high fae versus a fae? It's
Yeah, like what is the
hilarious.
difference? Like they don't always say what it is,
I'm
what
learning
the
my
difference is.
fairy culture for sure.
Well, and I feel like fairy culture is its own thing in different books too.
It's kind of like it is a thread that ties it all together,
Like there are
and
things
I'm learning.
like there's a mating bond in like multiple books, and in almost all of them they can speak to each other mind to mind. Like that
Hmm.
just seems to be a thing.
There's something kind of like winnowing where they're able to be in one location
and move
and
to
then be in
another.
another
And
location.
the way they describe that magic might be different depending on the book, but they all can do it in one way or
So
another.
they have this general umbrella, but it's not like in a Regency romance where the queen is the queen and the king is the king, and they're going to say that outright, and that person is clearly the person that you're trying to impress, and a ball is a ball, and a carriage is a carriage.
Yeah.
You know, you a horse in one of these one of these shows or one of these books can literally be, is it a human horse? Is it a fairy horse? Is it a where you have no idea?
Yeah.
And this is what's driving me crazy about this. I feel like I don't know enough about the umbrella that I'm living under. And so my hope is when
I
you
feel
write
like,
that you'll be able to make the umbrella
oh, that's going to be the hard
thorough
part.
but quickly enough
I feel
that
like
it gives you it.
I have plot and dialogue down really well, and I have
Yes.
how magic works down really well, except for how I want her to get to, like where I want her to end up. Like I still am making those decisions. But as far as like the start of it, I have that
Hmm.
I have that down. And I think I'm doing a good job because I'm writing, I mean, it's an outline, but it also is a lot of dialogue that I probably will change significantly through an actual writing editing
Fair.
process. But, the framework is down. I have a good idea of where I want to go. And I think a lot of it's kind of funny. And it alternates between
I
like serious
appreciate that
moments
too. I like
and
some
funny.
humor.
And well, it gets funnier. Like, I don't think book one is going to be all that funny. I think
But
it's going to
once
get
you have
funnier.
dialogue between people
Yeah.
that are real,
Yeah.
not related, but they have relation,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to have inside joke and
Yeah.
things like that that you can't
Like
have before.
book one is not really, she's not ever going to really let her guard down in book one. And so she gets funny in book two when she lets her guard down. So
That's fair.
that's kind of where that is. But
So where is the whole?
the
Like
whole
where?
is going to be trying to meld together setting and like with everything else and moving all that together. But
Because
I
that
think I'm
really is the
doing,
part that is unclear.
yeah,
Even from our conversations, it's medieval in feel.
it's
But
medieval,
like
but they
what
have
is
plumbing.
that mean? Yeah, medieval with plumbing. That's what I told my husband too. I was like, it's medieval, but with like bath.
Yeah,
And
I
he's like, what with
mostly
what?
because I want them to be able to have a bath without having to call a servant.
This is
That
what
is
he
the
said.
one, that is the one thing.
He's
There's
like,
probably going to be an aqueduct. That's what's
he's
going to
like,
happen.
there's killing. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, I like killing in a book. It's like, great.
I wrote a scene today where there was a lot of killing.
I'm like,
But
great. I can't wait for you to read Stephanie's book.
but yeah, that's gonna be the hardest part. But I think like especially the second book I think still is my favorite, even though I'm like a third of the way through
Oh, no, no, me
plotting out the
too.
third.
Absolutely.
But
The first book sets everything up beautifully. It's like the base of the cake.
yeah,
The
but what I
second is
like
really just the meat of it.
what I like most about it is as she's developing her magic, she also is falling in love.
Hmm.
And so the person she's developing, like who's kind of helping her train her magic, is and the only person who she can tell about it because it's a secret that she has it. They like a lot of the scenes where she's like developed a new power involve them also moving forward a little bit in their feelings for each other. So in that sense, I think I'm doing a good job of making it so that a lot is happening in a chapter because we can
Hmm.
explain here's this cool new thing that I figured out how to do, and we can explain what that thing is, and then we also can move forward a little bit in our progression
Hmm.
and our feelings for each other, and
The third book's going to
or
be hard.
sometimes backwards,
Yes,
depending
that's
on how
fine.
things are going.
The
But
third book's hard because once there's actually some type of relationship built, maintaining the interest
yeah,
in that through the plot will be harder. And we've talked about that.
yeah.
But
It's
I mean,
very
I love it.
easy.
And I'm very easily
Like
disinterested in things. So I'm very proud of you.
Like so I had the scene that I had to scrap when I decided that my prince was not going to be
She's very
the
upset
big
about this,
bad.
by the way. She was
I was
very
very
much
upset.
mourning the loss of this
I was
scene.
sad. Like
It was very important.
this was
It
supposed
was
to be like the
innate
pivotal
to the
scene
story.
in the second book, and this was going to be when she like revealed her powers because it was either that or everybody fucking died. And
This was like pivotal to the actual
yes,
book prior to
like
her really picking out the details.
yeah,
So this is something
this
that was
was going to
part
be
of the
like
baby.
this was like going to be climax of book two is her
This is
letting
something
this
she told
go.
me a year ago when this
Yes.
was a daydream that she's had for 20 years.
And so but I had to let it go because the story worked better with the character
And she
not
loved
being
the
the big
way it
bad.
was going to lay out.
And so I was able to pull it back in, but in a different way, where she has this big like
I got
fight
a text
moment.
message.
But
I
yeah,
got a
I
text
did.
message today that was like, I found a way to use it
Yeah.
later in a
And so she
different and
still
maybe better way.
so she still gets to have her moment, and it still is going to be like a new magical ability, kind of, or development, really. It's not a new ability. She just is learning how to use something better. And and then she like kicks some major butt and is able, because really at this point, everything has still really been a secret
Hmm.
until like the last 2 weeks. Like the first 10 chapters happen within like a week of them leaving and getting out of
The
the
first 10
area.
chapters of which
A
book?
book three, a book three.
Yeah. Book three last week was non-existent,
It did
friends.
not, no. I wrote it,
We're
I
having our
finished it later.
conversation on Saturday. Her husband's kicking me out, and I'm like, but what about book three?
I know,
What's
right?
happening? And she's like, I don't know yet, but my husband's getting angry.
But yeah, so like the first 10 chapters of like book three happen in like a week's time span. And so like a lot is happening and they've got to get a lot of people on their side. And she finally gets to, and her significant other finally get to use like these magical abilities for the first time, like in practice.
I think you can
And
give
then
her name
later,
away.
Lena, Lena and Kenrick. Um, so because and they both have like special abilities, and she's basically gifted him his, and hers are like a birthright.
This is the
And
beauty of romantasy,
yeah,
is that you can give people magical
yeah, you
abilities.
can you can give it to him.
And it
It's
is the part that has hooked me 100% because some of this has been slow, but I know it's the book series that I am reading, not necessarily the culture of the entire,
yeah,
like the entire umbrella of what romantasy is. She's just a little slow in pulling
yeah,
out those details. But romantasy is beautiful because it's romance and fantasy.
yeah.
You can make up whatever the heck you want. You want them to have magic powers? Great. You
I
can
feel
do
like
that.
there still need to be rules though.
There are
Like that
rules,
was that's the hardest
unspoken
part for
rules in a
me.
way,
Like because magic has to have a rule system for how it works. You can't just like,
and how it blesses somebody
yeah, you have to decide like what somebody's going to be capable of, how strong is their power going to be?
or why
Are there
they were blessed with the
limitations?
magic
Yeah,
and why other people weren't.
yeah. And like one of the
I
big
think this
things,
all goes back to Harry Potter, but
yeah,
apparently my bestie has not read all of Harry Potter.
I have not even seen all the movies, Chantel.
Oh my God.
I will read Harry
You
Potter.
want to what? You want to write a romantasy book?
I'll read Harry Potter.
You have to.
I will do Harry Potter. I have read all of
It is
her
everything
books.
in the fantasy without the romantasy part.
I have read all of the Robert Galbraith series that J.K. Rowling does under that name. I've read every single one of those. So it's not like I'm
I
not a
know.
J.K. Rowling person, but and she's a phenomenal writer.
She really is.
Phenomenal. Those are good
But I
books too.
think you would find some of the elementary because I think she is still youthful in these books where you
Yeah.
find some of the characteristics of somebody that you haven't heard of in 5 books all of a sudden shows up
Exactly. And they have a
and you're
big role
like,
to
that
play.
sounds familiar. And then later on, you find all these little Easter eggs have been planted all along.
I love
There's
that.
some really beautiful parts. I have listened to, read, and I listened to, read, and in paper,
Yeah.
in Kindle, and all of these things, probably 12 times through.
Well, and that's why I'm being very obsessive about planning out what do I want to do before I actually write anything for real, because I want to make sure that those threads are throughout.
Oh, and those threads are just what she does. You know it from
Yeah, oh
reading her
yeah.
other books. Her threads that pull you from one book to another, that pull you from 6 books before to another, and you
I
thought that
just
there
want to
was
say
nothing.
to anybody who's read the Cormoran Strike series, which is phenomenal, by the way, if you want to read it.
I have not.
He's a private detective in London who's surly, and it starts out where he's
Such a
got
London word,
this this
surly.
t- this temporary assistant. He was supposed to have canceled it and he didn't because he was running out of money. And Robin Ellicott pops in on day one and he's kind of stuck with her because he can't just cancel the contract. And she ends up being very integral to everything that he does. And for like, I don't know how many books they're in. It's like 6 or 7 at this point. They have been in this will they, won't they situation.
You
And
told me about this.
I totally
I was
understand.
hurting for you.
Like this, the book before last, I understood why it didn't happen because Robin had to like make her own decisions as
Hmm.
to what she wanted for herself before she could really make a decision that she really wanted to be with Strike, the main character. And then, but this last book, like it didn't happen. And then it ended on the biggest cliffhanger where he finally like said what he was feeling and she walks out of the door and I'm like, what the hell? This is not okay. Like we have been
I am
waiting
in
for this forever.
I've been experiencing these book series
Oh,
through you,
yes.
knowing you know how I feel about reading a
Yes.
book series while they are active.
Yes. It's very challenging.
I can't hurt myself like that.
You're gonna you're gonna hurt yourself. I saw a dad at
Fourth Wing
gymnastics
is
today.
going to hurt me.
Yes,
Onyx
it will.
Storm, when I get
It
there,
will.
is going to physically hurt. I sat at a Walmart waiting for the new Harry Potter books to come out
I bet.
when the 6th book came out because I physically hurt waiting.
I literally so there was a dad who like a couple weeks ago was reading Fourth Wing at gymnastics and tonight he was on Onyx Storm and I said that book is gonna rip your heart out. And he goes, I know, my wife is devastated. And I was like, you got to read Quicksilver. That'll help with your Onyx Storm hangover. And he's texting his wife like right afterwards. We
Mm-mm.
got to read Quicksilver.
You gotta read Clock Summer.
Oh,
Although that one has been quite the like it has been working itself right up the New York Times,
yeah.
like as an important book in this particular, I don't know,
Because a lot of
genre, I
people
guess.
are like, if you like Zayden Ryerson in Fourth Wing, you're gonna like Quicksilver because he also has like shadows as his like magical power.
Hmm.
And he also is quite surly. And when he falls hard. And he's like he has a lot of great lines, like I love you lines, like Zayden, but he
Zayden
also,
apparently has these lines that are
yes,
like, let me melt in front of you kind of lines. Like
yeah,
they
but he
just,
also is
mm.
like very, very foul mouthed and dirty. And so it's a different character, but it's also like a
You know,
very
we have come a long way since we started this, and we were asking people to join carefully because there might be people inappropriately using quilts. And now we're like, we are reading romantasy books.
we are.
And not that we want people to join inappropriate.
I mean, we're not talking about the down and dirties.
Mm-mm. And I
He
don't think
just,
we ever really will talk. I mean,
yeah,
that's for personal interpretation. We
yeah,
have a little bit of class still left in us,
yeah.
regardless of how much wine is left in my glass. Um,
You still have
so
half a bottle behind you there.
do I really? That's
You
great.
do.
It was
You're doing
either
good.
that or those terrible White Claws that somebody left at my house. They taste like
They were
a
not good.
flavor in a hallway, like staticky flavor.
I once heard it described as it tastes like somebody yelled fruit in the other room.
That was probably
Yeah,
me.
I think it was my cousin's husband, but yes.
Yeah, no, no, no. And it's like when your TV goes psh, and you
Yeah,
can kind of see the picture in the background, and you're like, strawberry. Psh. That's what White Claws taste like.
yeah.
They
No, it's
have
not fun.
this
High
very
noon's way
fuzzy
better.
feel. They
Although
really
I
are.
will tell you, I prefer the tequila to the vodka. I'm just gonna say. I like the
Hey,
flavors there
that's
better.
fair. I'd be happy to take any of them at this point because apparently I am
I
drinking the $15 bottles that everybody has brought to my house as a housewarming gift, which is just cracking me up. Who brings me wine as a housewarming gift these days? When did
oh,
I
I know
become
to
the
bring you high
person?
noon. I know to bring you
When
high
did I
noon.
become the person that people bring wine to? I'm like, thank you for welcoming us into your home. Here's an expensive bottle or a mid, if they really know us, a midline bottle of wine.
They really.
And they really know us. They're like, we're not going to waste the really good stuff on you.
Oh,
There's not
John
even a
telling
better way
I.
to say it.
You can get high noons pretty much anywhere, just so you know.
That's not necessarily true. It is like kind of a Midwest
Really?
phenomenon.
Is it?
Yes. So you fly to other locations, they don't have them in their airports or
I
anything
didn't
like
know
that.
that.
So it is slowly upcoming in other areas, but anywhere that you would look for like a White Claw, you can look nearby and see if they
And you
have
see a
these
high noon.
particular bottles. They're
They do
good
have,
because they're not
you had
beer based.
Kirkland ones though,
I
from like
have, and
Costco.
they're
They're not
somewhere
as,
in between
they're
the
not as
hallway,
bad. Yeah.
and they're not, I don't think they're vodka seltzers. I think they're more like seltzer, with maybe some vodka in them.
I was able to drink the Kirkland ones like 1 an hour all day long when we were doing our cookie baking marathon. And I was never really affected. And I am
Not
not,
for one an hour. You really,
I
they don't have
am,
a lot to them.
I can be affected. We're just going to say that. So,
We're not who we used to be.
no, we're
Now,
not.
our sorority at the very, very beginning, whoever was here, all like 13 of you that were here when we really started, she was talking about how her main character in this book was a cog.
Yes.
Now, our
And
sorority was Chi Omega Gamma. We were cogs.
we
And
wore
we
camel pants. And my senior year, we beat every single fraternity in keg races. And that's us
and
in a
then we got
nutshell.
shut down for
We did.
drinking.
It was not for drinking. They burned flipping. It was the boys. It was the boys' fault. We had this cog camping trip every year.
Ryan
And
and
some
I got
of our
shut down. Well,
guests
we had already
decided to
started,
burn some picnic tables at a camping event. And it
but
didn't
it
go
even
very well for
started
us.
it started even before that. You weren't supposed to have any type of drinking at events or whatever. The point
Everybody
is
did.
is that we were not your girlfriend's sorority where you think of
We were not Elwood.
Elwoods,
Nope,
right?
we were not.
Adorable, keeping it together. Maybe they bake, maybe they're more into makeup, whatever it is. We were the boys as the girls.
Pretty much. Yes.
We were tough. We were the warrior type. That doesn't mean we in particular.
We
We
knew they
loved,
all knew what they wanted and how they were going to get it. And that was very positive influence for me at the time that I joined. I
Same.
absolutely
There
needed that.
was there was this directive to you don't have to be shut down by everybody to get what you really want and desire.
Yeah.
And for us as potential business people, as people who knew that we wanted greater things for ourselves, was a very positive message. We
Yeah.
didn't use it the same way as everybody else, but the message that we could build ourselves up and be greater than
Like
we were.
I've never shared this publicly.
Hmm,
Never.
this is
But
a tidbit.
we are, an hour and a half into this. I was a mess before I joined. I had gone through some major mental health crises. I was
Don't
bulimic.
worry, I'm grabbing my bottle of
Yeah.
wine. I was worried if
I
I was
was
going to be able to save it, but I don't think it really matters.
I was bulimic. I was a total mess. And the last time I purged was the night before I pledged. And it was solely because of being around women who were strong and who were going to take what they wanted out of life. And
They were
that
the
was
warrior
exactly
type
what
in a
I needed.
time when warrior types weren't necessarily what
Yeah.
we wanted, right?
Yeah. Like that was my very first ever adult mental health crisis was right before I joined the sorority.
Hmm.
And my dad was like, I don't want you joining. Like he thought it was going to be the worst thing in the world for me. And it was the best thing in the world for me. Like I absolutely needed to be around women who were strong and who wanted everything for themselves and were willing to do
But
what
weren't
needed to be done to
willing to
get it.
necessarily climb all over each other to do
Yeah.
it.
It
They
wasn't
were
catty
like,
at all.
it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It was this beautiful, like, I'm a warrior, you're a warrior, we can be a warrior together kind of
Yes.
mentality.
And sometimes we were warriors by drinking cakes faster than the fraternities, but
Oh, you're
we
so
also
good.
we were very good at that. But yes.
Sometimes it was just, I mean, it could be simple things. It was, whether we were better at the sports than the other teams. Sometimes it was better.
We won intramurals a lot.
We did win intramurals a lot.
We were really
Unless
good
it
at
was
that.
up to me, I had to
We
do
we never won this
racquetball or something like that. We didn't win that one. That
do
sport
you
was up to me, and it was like, do you realize I was like an artistic roller skater? You're going to put me in there into the octagon, essentially, doing racquetball or whatever it was because I had a PE credit thanks to my future husband's, A on my racquetball degree. Apparently, I have
so
a racquetball,
we used to have
whatever.
these
It was awful.
competitions at homecoming between all the fraternities and
Hmm.
sororities for different things. And they would have to require
I have
all
pictures of us.
all sophomores to do the sing competition because they knew nobody would do it if they didn't require the sophomores to
Do
do
you
it.
remember doing Jimmy
We were
Buffett?
terrible. Oh yeah, we were so bad. So bad.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
I remember singing our pledge class song to our parents at parents' night and thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is the
I'm so
dirtiest song," and
thankful
we're
my
now
parents
singing it
didn't
to my
come.
parents.
I've never been more proud of my mom being at home reading her Harlequin romances.
Oh goodness.
Oh,
We're like in this like lovely little rented banquet hall having a buffet and it's supposed to be this nice thing and then there's this song that we sang. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like we had changed the lyrics. And the lyrics you change when you're with your fellow 19 and 20-year-olds
it's not
are
the one you would change
not
for
the
your
ones you want to
parents.
sing for your parents
Mm-mm.
later. And then we had to
No,
sing this song for them and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh,
Dan, we are
why?"
totally your type. All of
Oh
you, we
goodness.
are totally your type. That is why you're still here with us.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
But
But
wasn't it so, I mean, it was so cathartic to get some of that stuff out to
oh, for
like
sure.
our pledge class was interesting because you were we had a number of people that were sophomores when they pledged.
Hmm.
And we had people that were freshmen when they pledged. And I was a bit of an oddball. There was maybe one or two of us that was a bit of an oddball that tend to get along more with the sophomores that pledged. And then there was kind of this group of freshmen that had pledged that really got together. But regardless, we all kind of pulled together for what we needed to.
Yeah.
And then we were able to do what we needed to
And then
in
you
the
and I are
end.
still
But
friends 20 years
it
later.
was very, very hard for me when my sophomores, because I was a freshman when I pledged, my sophomores, so the people that were a year above me, graduated. That was a very, very difficult year for me because I was dealing with a lot of people that I hadn't had to deal with
Yeah.
necessarily. And I had half of a group of people that's like, you need to run for president. We need somebody like you that's going to be level and make sure that we don't get shut down. And then I had like this other group of people that are like, no, no, we don't want to do with that. I was getting married. I didn't care. I didn't
Yeah.
want to play sorority at that point. And then look at us all these years later. But you made a
I was
big
trying to help with
successful business.
I was trying to help with PR from the outside because I was like a legit professional journalist at that point.
You were. I was supposed to live with you guys, and you guys ended up getting instead of the 5-person house, the 4-person house.
I didn't even know. They're like, "Hey, we have a spot." And I was like, "Cool, I'll take the spot." Like
It
I
wasn't
did
even
not
that.
know
It
that
was
until you
more,
told me like 2 years ago.
I honestly think they set that up so that I would live with my husband, who wasn't my husband at the time, to be fair.
You know what? Honestly, it's totally fine because two of them were total not fun to be around.
And
And
then
I
there
ended
was
up moving out
Kaylin.
early. Kaylin was great. Kaylin was great. Kaylin went to the wedding. We're all good.
I
But the
love
other
Kaylin.
two, I was like, I'm peacing out. I'm moving out early. I don't care.
I'm out.
I'm done with this.
The
So
point is that we had a great time in college, and now this is influencing your main character,
it is. Oh,
which is hilarious and wonderful at the
it
same
is
time.
hilarious. It is.
Like, you always have a baseline concept to go back to. So, one thing we always talked about in design is that you can have an idea in your head, but unless you have something concrete 100%, you're able to explain to somebody and they're able to jump into that understanding the
Hmm.
true concept of something. You don't really have anything to work off of, so you have to get that concept. So for you to have a person that's like 100%, this is the cog type of woman and you know what that means,
Yeah.
you're able to
I
build
want her
a
to
much
be,
more successful character that way.
I want her to be way more comfortable around men who are warriors because that's what
Hmm.
she is. That's what her dad is. That's what she's been raised to be. And so,
Definitely. And that follows the
yeah.
character path
She
100%.
learns she learns to behave in the court way,
We all have to learn to behave a little
but
bit.
she prefers and is way more comfortable when she gets to just be with her people.
I think I've given up on the fact that I'm going to sew tonight. I'm really
I
glad that my husband thinks that I sew every night, but
I resigned myself way earlier in the night that that's not happening for me tonight.
yes, you did.
Oh, I got one
I
more high
hope
noon in
everybody
me.
else is sewing
I
or
think a
doing
lot of people are
something. They can
hanging.
listen, whatever.
It's all good. We apparently we're interesting enough for 15 people to still be listening to us talk about
Hey,
randomness.
you know what? That's good enough because you're our girlfriends or guy friends, whoever you are.
So I was texting Chantel and my autocorrect totally messed this up. But like back to like her cog mentality. So she can drink, she can fight. Like this is
Hmm.
like who she is.
Your character,
And
yeah.
like super early on in book two, she's like engaged to somebody that she or betrothed to somebody she doesn't want to be betrothed to at all. And there's way more other stuff going on. And the king, she's betrothed to a prince. The king like toasts their heirs, and she had been nursing a a glass of wine all night and it's empty by the time he makes a toast. And he's like, "Oh, we should get you some more." And she's like, "I'm good for tonight." And she just covers her glass and then walks out and like refuses and to like drink to it because she doesn't want any part of their BS. And this actually endears the prince to her a little bit because he also doesn't want anything to do with this. But she's the one who's like, "No, I'm not having this."
No,
And so later, much later, when she is with the person she wants to be with, and there's a toast to her heirs, this is the very cog thing that I sent Chantel. She doesn't just drink the beer, she drinks the whole beer in one go and turns it over to show that it's empty. And they're this she's like with a whole group of warrior men and they're just like cheering big
I
time
love
because
that.
I'm just like, this is perfect. This is so Lena.
Mm,
And uh,
she's our hog warrior.
she is for sure.
She's who
But
we wish we were in a way. In
I
a
know,
way.
right? I want
And
to be a
there's like a
five,
part of my
10
spirit.
muscled woman who can beat the crap out of people. That sounds fabulous.
I wished I would have been able to talk people down to my level when I was in college, but I was too nervous about what other people would think
Yeah,
to be
I get
able
that.
to like bring them to my reality first. I was more willing to let them not necessarily walk on me. It wasn't a rude thing, but I was willing to let them live a little above me in order to not bother me. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
it does.
I wasn't going to poke the bear.
I just remember fun times with you.
We
That's what I remember.
were a different level. You have to understand. We understood each other even at that age.
We
That
did.
was
We
just
we
like
had
we
special
knew
drink
that
recipes.
mm-mm, there was going to be no problem between us.
Yeah.
This was understood very early on. But you're dealing with warrior type women
Yes.
in a modern age, a whole bunch of them. There are certain ones you just don't want to irritate.
No, you don't. Not at
But
all.
when Steph and I got together, it always ended up a mess in a
I was
positive
a
way.
I was a third wheel often because my junior and senior year I dated someone who lived elsewhere. And so I was out with Chantel and her husband often.
And I don't
You
remember
didn't
much of
even
that
know I
because
was
we were
dating
so
anybody.
trash.
You didn't even know I was dating
Oh my
somebody.
God.
You're like, you were dating someone? I was like, yes, unhappily.
I
Shouldn't have
mean,
been.
it
But yes.
clearly wasn't worth bragging about because, you living in that awesome room your junior year
Oh my gosh, yes, that was amazing.
you
I
didn't
still
mean
have
to tell
not
me
lived in a house that good,
anything.
but
You didn't want to tell anybody anything. That was the truth.
it was more that it was not the most important thing in my life because it wasn't the right person.
Mm-mm.
That's really all it was.
You were always so driven towards what
My goals.
that was going to be. Like what
Yeah.
was going to be the outcome of all of this. I even remember leaving Augie and you being still involved with the Observer.
Yeah, they called me back because some stuff went down and I had to come back in and help with
I
that
remember
on
coming
multiple
back to
occasions.
visit and
They
you were
brought me
there.
in 3 times to help save the journalism program after I graduated. 3 times.
Ouch.
And I did it each time, and they won record number of awards every single damn time I was there.
Why aren't
Every
you
time,
there now?
Chantel. Because I don't have a master's degree.
Well, that's just expensive.
It is. So if I had a master's degree, I could totally be there. Actually,
No,
honestly, they want a
you're gonna
PhD.
write books.
I
We're
am.
gonna have a book talk, whatever.
We have to
And
actually we should make time to actually have that conversation this week. That would probably be a
well,
good
that
thing.
would be silly. Why would we do that?
We're going to start a business together. We should probably talk about it. Details.
Technically, we get so excited about the characters that we can't actually talk any details.
Chantel literally calls me this week. He goes, "Is something going to happen? When does something happen?" I'm like, "I'm on the treadmill right now, Chantel. I know that." It is going to happen
She's
soon.
not. I can hear the of the treadmill,
Oh,
and I'm like, I am reading this book and nothing is happening. If I go on Wikipedia, I know everything that's happening. Please tell me something is going to happen in this book because I am 5 chapters in and nothing
and then she's like,
outside of minor details has happened.
and she's telling me like, oh, the twins
Mm,
are doing this. So I was like, is the first or the second time they're out? She's like, first. I was like, oh, well, it's coming. Oh,
too slow for me
I don't know.
for the
You might,
ADHD.
you probably will hate the fourth book in that series. It is literally the Christmas special. Absolutely nothing happens except Farrah deciding that she wants to have a baby. And that is about it. And are
How dare you drop such details?
you feeling bad about this now? Are you really mad that I dropped the spoiler?
No, that actually seems exactly what would happen for a
Yeah,
Christmas special.
that is literally the only thing that happens in that entire situation. And we have a teeny bit of setup for the fact that Nesta is in a bad place emotionally. And that is all.
Hmm.
And then it's basically
This
set
is
up for the
all
fifth
we
book.
get by the time we're done with the third book, onto a fourth book, onto a fifth book.
No, third book totally wraps
Oh,
everything up beautifully. Like if you want to stop at the end of the third book,
with a war, not necessarily with the
you'll feel
people.
good. You'll feel good. You'll feel good with how it wraps up for that.
You know what?
Fourth
I
book,
kind of like my Regency romances. They always finished up because there was no hope of an additional book. And when they wrote an additional book, it was really cool.
yeah,
And that was as, and that was as great as it got. It was just really cool that you got to write an additional book. Good for you.
yeah.
Oh, all these romances take a lot from me. I think inside.
Well, you got to build a world. They got to
Gotta
go
build
through
the
the
world.
world. I'll tell you though, by the time you get done with the third book,
Hmm.
you are going to be
An
in love with the
Akatar,
cereal.
everyone.
Yes, you're going to be in love with the cereal. That character has one heck of an arc in about three scenes.
Wait, the
And
cereal?
yes, it's in like
Now, this
literally
is the
three scenes.
information I needed. What chapter is he in?
I think it's a she. I mean, really, it's an it. It's quite a while from now. Um, but when the cereal
Almost
comes,
12. I'm almost to the part where you said things were going to happen.
yes, you're getting there. But once the cereal comes again, like that character arc that they gave that character, literally having it in like three scenes over three
Yeah.
books, like you will cry like a baby. You will cry like a baby for the cereal
Where
at
is
the
my
end of third
phone?
one.
When does the cereal come back?
Don't Google this.
When does he come back?
I will look.
This is friendship, guys.
I'm making sure you don't get the spoilers.
I don't want the spoilers, but I need to know when he comes back. Or she, whatever the cereal is.
I feel like because she spills so much tea, it's got to be a girl.
That's fair. Probably in the 30s, I bet. If I had to guess. No, you know what? They're already in a forest. It's probably earlier.
It's
I'm
way later.
I'm at 11. I know 12 is something.
Dang it.
When you have a friend that really cares about you, she sends you the information about which chapters are going to be a little bit more
I literally
spicy.
I literally got home and I was like from that conversation I was like, yeah, you have to wait till this chapter and then things start happening.
So, Jan, the book is A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's the series. So I think I'm on what? A Court of Mist and Fury?
You're a Court of Wings and Ruin. You're on the third one.
Winds, Wings, and Ruin? I don't even know where
Cha
I am.
Chapter 60.
That
So the
far?
serial comes back in chapter 60.
60?
I know, but I'm telling you, Sarah J. Maas, three chapters with the serial. Beautiful character arc. You will cry. I cried.
60 though? I have to get to 60.
I'm
Oh,
keeping my books to
stop. This
45
is
chapters. I'm just
hard.
telling you that right now.
Ugh. I keep
Uh,
doing it for my friendship.
I'm telling you, we don't have to start with these books for our thing. We could do something different.
No, the thing
But
is that most people eat these up. They're not used to the rapid pace I'm used to.
this is true.
They're also, yeah, mm, I'm used to a rapid pace, a shorter book, a book that is not part of many books, and usually a book that doesn't include war,
Yeah,
which is going to take more time.
it is. Because you have to lead up to it, you have to have the battle, and then you have to come
There has
down
to be
from after.
purpose behind it. There has to be purpose behind all of it. So I'm just being impatient.
It's okay.
As long as I have somebody to say, oh, no, 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 get to 60, it's worth it, or get to 12, or get to 55, or 54 is worth it too. All of those things. She knows what I'm
You're funny.
saying, and
I
everybody's like,
do.
what is going on?
So if you've read A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the Avatar series, then you know what chapter 55 means.
55 is synonymous with
Yes.
a love scene.
All you have to say is chapter 55, and anybody who's read that series knows exactly what it is you're saying. Exactly what it is.
It really, it really was worth the hype. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie, from somebody who has read many a book that has had what you might call smut in it. It lived up to it. It did
Yeah.
good.
It was good.
And it had more to it than just that.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
we're
like
gonna
the
learn to talk about
culmination.
all of this.
It was the culmination of a beautiful love story
But I
that
think
started
our
before the
next,
series even began.
yes, I think our next adventure, you and I, is going to,
We're gonna have some fun.
we're going to figure out how to explain this stuff to people because right now we have such a quilting crowd. I love you all, but you can't, you deal with us while we're on our book loving adventure.
Yes, for sure.
I think we're gonna find some book lovers over here before too long.
I started a new one,
Hmm.
but I haven't gotten very far in it.
Is that something to do with the serpent?
Yeah, let me figure out what it is. My husband kept downloading a bunch of kids' books back on my thing, which I was not.
There
The Serpent of Wings of Night.
you
And
go. I
it's a
knew that was the
series,
next one.
and there are vampires, and
Yes,
I'm very much in like the very beginning setup of this situation. It's this vampire
I've heard good
king
things.
who has an adopted human daughter, and she's about to enter some tournament, and the winner of it gets a gift from the god of death. And that gives nothing away because I literally know nothing at this point in the book. It is so far in the beginning of it. And
That's the beautiful thing about Regency romance is
yeah,
that you already know the next part.
yeah. So
But in this, you have no idea.
I don't know what's coming. I know she's going to compete in this, and it's very dangerous for her as a human because it's her and a bunch of vampires.
It's a
And
beautiful book cover. I will give them that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see. We'll see what it comes up. But it was one of those that's like, if you read this, you might like this kind of a
Mhm.
thing.
I saw that
So,
too.
but
My mother had a thing for vampire romance.
I read like every single book in the Suki Stackhouse mystery series, and that was back when you would go to the library and rent the CDs. And
Yes.
so I would have them on like the boombox that
Ah,
was playing for the whole house while I was like cleaning on a Saturday. And my husband works second shift, so I would be like up in the morning doing my thing while he's still asleep. And then he would come down, and it would be in the middle of like a sex scene, and they're like biting each
great.
other. Like, because you got to bite too when you're a vampire. Like, you can't
Sure.
just like do the thing. You got to also do that. And he just is looking at me, and
How
this is playing
awkward.
really loud for like the whole house to hear. And I mean, we
Oh
weren't
my
married or
God.
we didn't have kids, but it was just like, I was like, hi,
Hey.
hey, how are you doing? I would alternate between that and the Elm Creek Quilt series, which is a totally different book.
Wait, what was the book series?
Elm Creek Quilters by Jennifer
Oh,
Shiverini.
you know what? I saw a whole bunch of those at a thrift
There are
shop
so
not that
many,
long ago.
so
Like
many.
maybe 12.
Like I interviewed her like back in the day when I was a journalist and was on her like book promo list.
I considered it, but then I considered the arc that you're on, and I have to follow that in a
Yeah.
certain way because you're so excitable. I'm like, I gotta relate. So I didn't
You and
buy
I
them.
are bad influences on each other, for
It's
sure.
fair. Look at your high noon in your hand. I
I
know.
know. I'm well aware.
Hmm.
Well, and when my daughter's little date's mother came, she's like, "Oh, I love your dolls because I have American Girl dolls all
You're like,
over the bookshelves," which was not even half of the ones that I have. And I was like, "Yeah, I have a friend. We're bad influences on each other."
you called me out. You jerk.
It's all good. We're bad influence on each other. It's fine. We have been for
It's
20 years.
fair.
It's for 20 years, Chantel.
Oh my
We've
God.
been getting each other to do stupid things.
I know. So bad.
Oh, goodness.
So bad. Dude, I'm getting tired. And
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. I have
You also
Easter
not
things
feeling
to do
well.
tomorrow.
I do too. I have to drive to my parents.
I do too.
I love my parents, but I have to drive 3.5 hours with my children who might kill each other in the back seat.
Oof.
So,
We'll be honest to
yeah,
ourselves and know that we have real, actual reality things to
unfortunately,
happen tomorrow.
I'm not lying. I'm going to totally finish writing a chapter before I go to bed.
I know you
But
are.
mhm,
I might
I got
finish
an idea
listening to a chapter and
while we were
maybe eating
talking.
a burrito. I've been craving a burrito this whole time.
It's all good.
John made brisket, so what can I?
I wish I had someone to make me brisket. I'm
Can't
starving.
help myself. I need dinner. I haven't eaten dinner.
Susan, we are planning on doing a new thing that is totally different than this. Today we're just off. Neither one of us felt like sewing, but
I have sewing.
we do. We have sewing. We just were not feeling it today. It's all good.
And I think we all feel that way sometimes. It's okay.
It's all good. Alrighty. Peace out. We'll be back next week. We might
Bye,
actually
love.
sew